Hello, I'm Andy here. So I am back, this time actually outside. I think this is the first video I'm doing actually outside and on location. I'm here in London and I'm here to come and shoot a long exposure shot. So this particular shot I'm actually taking of the London Eye, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But I want to demonstrate a couple of different filters that I will be using. One of them is this little thing here. It's a polarizer. Polarisers are brilliant for landscape photography. It creates an effect that you can't actually get in post-processing like Lightroom or Affinity Photo. And I'm going to show you some of these effects in camera as I'm shooting. Then what I'm going to do is take an image and show you what it's like without any filters on. Then I'm going to introduce you to ND filters. I'm going to show you what ND filters can do and long exposures to create some really dramatical images. Okay, so this is the shot that I've composed at the moment. It's a typical shot of the London Eye. Nothing really exciting. You can see at the very bottom of the image you've got some boats and things that are in the way. A couple of skips there that might need to get out a little bit later on. But I'm taking this particular shot because it's front on, and I want to try and give you this illusion of this London Eye here spinning about 100 miles an hour. It is moving ever so slightly, very, very slowly. At the moment I'm at 1,000th of a second, ISO 100, f4.5. I'm now going to change 4.5 up to f11, which darkens the image. So I need to control that by selecting a different shutter speed. So I'm now at f11. And I'm shooting at 1/60th of a second, ISO 100. I'm happy with the way it looks at the moment. I'll wait for this boat to go by. Okay, so we've got a nice boat in the way now, which actually covers the skips. So it works out pretty well. So to go back, I am shooting just free at the moment. I've got the camera in manual focus, the lens on manual focus. I'm shooting at about 26mm. Now I'm going to put on something called a polarizer, which is a circular polarizer here. This screws onto the front. Now this is made by a company called Format High Tech. This is the Format High Tech Firecrest Ultra Slim polarizer. It allows you to actually change the way reflections and things and the sunlight glare hits your image. So with that on, I'm just going to adjust my shutter speed here. And I'm going to show you what it can do here. As I rotate the polarizer, have a look at the water at the bottom. You can see some of the reflections becoming a little bit more apparent and then disappearing away. And also have a look at the blue of the sky. You see how enhances some of the sky here. Let me just adjust it down a little bit. So it gives it a little bit more punch and reflection. So you can really control how your image is going to look before you even start editing. So this is what I'm actually going to put on next. This is the Format High Tech Firecrest Ultra. It's a 100mm filter holder. I'm going to put this onto the front of the camera. And what this allows me to do is to slide square filters into the front, so ND filters. ND filters are neutral density filters, and you can get them in different grades. I have various different filters. If you have a look at this video here, it will show you what's in my camera bag and all the different filters that I use. So let's just put this on here. So it just slides nicely onto the front there. These are the filters that I have. Lots of different filters, and what I'm going to need to do now is I need to have a look at what the camera is basically saying and what the exposure is at the moment to determine what kind of strength of filter to put on the front to allow a similar exposure at a long shutter speed. So this is the app that I'm going to use. I'm not getting endorsed or paid for, but this is a particular app that I like. It's called ND Filter Expert. Love this app. I am currently shooting at 1/60th of a second. That's the reading that my camera is giving me with the polarizer on. I basically want a long exposure shot to capture the movement of the wheel going extra speed. Now to do this, I need to be able to shoot for between 1 and 5 minutes really. I've done a couple of test shots in the past and that seems about right. So 1 and 5 minutes. I have on me today a 3-stop, a 6-stop and 10-stop filters, or I can mix them up and add them together. So 3 stops gives me 1/7 of a second, not long enough. 6 stops, 1 second, not long enough. 10 stops, again not long enough. So let's stack them up. Let's go for 13 stops, 2 minutes. 2 minutes looks good, 2 minutes 16 seconds looks good. What does 16 stops look like? So 16 stops looks like 18 minutes. I think it's a little bit too long for this shot. So we're going to actually stack a 3-stop and a 10-stop together to create 13 stops. So for this to shoot for a couple of minutes or more, the camera only shoots for 30 seconds in manual mode. Now to shoot for longer, you want to put your camera into B or bulb mode. That allows you to shoot for much more. In fact, you can basically shoot for as long as you wish. You tell the camera when to start, you also tell it when to stop. So we need to get the 3-stop and the 10-stop filter out. So this is a 10-stop filter. I'm going to actually put this in first, closest towards the lens. And it just easily slides into the filter holder there. And now the 3-stop goes right over the top to then create 13 stops of filter. Now these filter holders are awesome. They're really good for leaving out any kind of light leak. They have kind of gaskets that can actually close any light that goes into the top and to the bottom. And if I just spin it around here, it has a little wheel. So when you turn this wheel, you can actually rotate through the polarizer as well, which actually sits underneath. Fantastic design. So you can actually change the polarizer with the filters on without taking them off. So I now got 13 stops on there now, which, as I said before, my app tells me of a reading of around 2 minutes or so. So I'm actually going to get my cable shutter release, and I actually use that little remote. Again, if you look at my gear that I use in the top left hand corner, that will show you all the gear that I use and why. Okay, so I've got my remote and I'm literally just going to press, and now it's taken. So now we'll wait for 2 minutes and 17 seconds, I believe it was. Let me just double check that. 2 minutes 16 seconds. We'll be back. Okay, this is the final image. It's come out really well, and we're lucky enough that the boat has actually just gone off as well. Perfect. So that's the kind of effect that ND filters can actually give you, from one shot in camera to an amazing masterpiece like this. Well, I like it anyway. This is the sort of style of photography that I enjoy. Long exposures. It gives you a kind of a sense of motion while taking a still image. Kind of a blend of film and photos all in one. So it gives you a sense of movement, and I love that. These filters here, if you use Conway 10, you can get 10% discount through formathightech.com website, and that's all year long, and you can also get 20% when they're doing a summer sale. So to finish all this off, I want to say a big shout out to my man at Real Nathan Owens. Follow him on Instagram. He's helped me do this filming, and me at andyc.photography.